Today on the Extreme channel, we're answering two very important questions. Number one, does size really matter? Number two, is this the greatest Transformers statue of all time? Let me take off my pants and we'll find out.
Just gross.
Is Mr. X going to use directions today? You bet your ass I am.
Autobots, roll out!
Now that he's assembled, I want to officially welcome you to the Extreme channel. Again, my name is Mr. X, and today we're going to do an in-depth look at this giant $3,000 Transformers piece. Before we get started, if you are new to this channel or you just haven't subscribed yet, go ahead and hit that bell if you like stuff like this. Not only Transformers, but comics. We have so many different high-end collectibles, and we have a huge giveaway that we are finalizing on March 1st, and then we're opening up a new giveaway that involves plane tickets. So make sure to hit that subscribe and bell notification so you know when this daily content drops. Now let's jump right in today because there's so much to talk about. Officially, this is made by Prime 1 Studios, no relation to Optimus Prime, and this is Optimus Prime Jet Power from Michael Bay's Revenge of the Fallen Transformers movie. This is taken from the very end of the movie when he kind of merges with the former Decepticon Jetfire and just beats the shit out of the bad guys. So it's an awesome piece, and I think he was actually in the movie for 5 minutes. And as many of you may or may not know, I've been going down this rabbit hole with the Michael Bay Transformers. I'm not a huge fan of the films. I did enjoy the first one quite a bit, but then they just got worse and worse. And I love the characters, though. I really like the take they did with the Transformers. A lot of people aren't fans. I am. I'm a big fan, and Prime 1 Studios has started this whole line. And if you're really curious about Transformers statues, go check out this video right here. I kind of lay out the different options you have when it comes to Transformers collecting. So we're going to do a review on him. We're going to use the Extreme scale. The Extreme scale is right here. It's a 1 through 5 scale we use on every statue we review. 1 on the far left, T is for trash, and 5 on the far right is X or Extreme. And before we get to the review, we're going to dive right into the background information on this guy because there's so much to cover. First of all, Prime 1 Studios made 1,700 of these. 1,200 of them were what I have. They're the collector's edition. And then the other 500 were the exclusive. Now the exclusive comes with 2 switch out options that the collector's edition does not have. Here's some stock photos. First, on his left hand, he is holding a staff. And on the right hand, he is holding this orb. I wasn't a huge fan of those switch outs. And not only that, but both the collector's edition, what I have here, and the exclusive were sold out on Sideshow, which is who distributes this piece in the United States. So I went on the wait list for both, and this one converted. Not only did it convert, but it's actually $200 cheaper. So this piece right here is $3,000. The one with the switch outs I showed you is $3,200. Actually, it's $3,199, so you think you're getting a deal. But we're going to talk all about this piece and the different options it has. Let's get the dimensions really quick. The height is actually 38 inches. His widest point is probably about 26. And the depth is maybe almost 20 inches. Kind of hard to tell because the bottom of the base is wider and longer than the top. So let's jump right into the review. And at the end of this, I'm going to throw up. I might throw up. I'm going to throw up some previous reviews I've done of Prime 1 Studios Michael Bay Transformer pieces. And then also, not today, but I'm going to set this with my collection. I'm going to put pictures on my Facebook page so you can check that out. It's in the description below. And then also, I'm reviewing Megatron from Beast Wars. That's this piece right here. Gonna go ahead and review this in a few days, and then I'll show you where he's set up in that video if you're not a big onto Facebook. But let's start off with concept. And concept is it movie accurate? Is it cool? Does it make sense? Now, first of all, one of the things with these Transformer pieces is they're doing them very similar. What I mean by that is they all have a very similar base, but it's a little bit different conceptually for each one. So starting with this base, you have a couple things going on here. It's very futuristic. It kind of looks Cybertronian, so from their planet, a little bit high tech, and all the bases are like this, but they're a little bit different. This one has the Autobot symbol all over it. Most of the time it's just on the front. It's actually on all four sides, which we'll look at with paint and sculpt. And as you move up, he is not only fully decked out as Optimus Prime, but with the Jetfire accessories, and he is in what we call a museum pose. I mean, he's kind of posing for a picture. Kind of hard to put these guys in a action or dynamic pose because they're so big and there's so many moving pieces. And on his right hand, he has this massive gun with the clip leading to his back. And just a very strong, powerful pose for Optimus Prime. What I really like about this version of Prime that was in the first three movies is you still see a lot of the elements to the semi-truck, where you don't see that in the Last Night or the Age of Extinction Prime, which I have the Age of Extinction being shipped right now from China. So we will do a review on him as well. But it's just badass, all the different Jetfire accessories. And one of the things I was worried about when I was getting him, I was worried they would take away from him, but I think it adds to it really well. And when we get to design and talk about that, there's a lot of cool options I think you can do. Now, one big part about this is, did they nail the likeness? And as I said, this particular character is only in that movie for about 5 minutes, and it's a very action-packed 5 minutes. So you don't really get a lot of stills or close-ups, but I assume Hasbro, whoever licensed this, made sure that it was 100% accurate. And I can't tell you if it's accurate or not. It appears to be accurate, but it looks badass. And I think the concept's awesome. I think that Prime 1 Studios was really going for broke on this, and I think they pulled it off. And I think the concept's an X. This may be one of my favorite statues. I'm going to tell you right now, it's probably my favorite Transformers statue for sure. Now with design, we talk about displayability. We talk about how did everything go together? Was it packed well? Are there any issues with it? And the answers are yes, no, yes, no, yes. So first I want to show you the boxes. These were the boxes that came in, 3 huge boxes. And what's ironic, the skinniest one is actually the heaviest one, which is the base. Here are the art boxes. They're all very similar. And right here are the 5 different layers within the 3 different boxes of all the different pieces. And here's a picture I posted on my Facebook page. You can actually see everything laid out. As I said, I think it was between 96 and 100 something parts. I lost count at around 96 or 98. Now, a few of the things I want to talk about before we get into it is I think I have some paint damage on the base. So take a look at these pictures. First, the Autobot emblem. There's some scratches here. And right in front of that, you see some faded paint at the bottom, and then some really faded paint to the side of it, almost like scratches. Now there is some battle weathering on this entire base, so I'm not sure if that's intentional. I don't think it is. So I will be contacting Sideshow, because it's pretty bad. Here's another piece over here that towards the front. Few features he has which are pretty cool. First of all, he does have 2 switch out heads, so let's look at both of those. First is his normal head. So this is the normal Optimus Prime head, and it does have a light up feature. Takes 2 watch batteries. Here is his battle head, so he kind of has the mask over his mouth and nose. And very similarly, has a light up feature. Let's look at some of the other light up features. Here's the gun without it lit up. And then it has just a contact button with watch batteries to light it up. Here's the jet boosters in the back. Here's just one of them, but they both can light up. So here it is without, and then here it is lit up. And the base right here has these kind of spotlights that shine on him. And here they are turned on. Now to me, I think light up features are really useless, especially when you pay $3,000 plus tax and shipping, and you have to get the batteries yourself. So I think that's a huge miss, Prime One Studios. $3,000 and you can't supply some batteries. I'm sure there might be something with shipping overseas, but still, that's disconcerting. One other big thing with the design I do want to look at here is it has these poles, these transparent poles to help support it. And I wasn't using these initially and there was no issues, but you just don't want to risk it. So I think that's a negative for sure. If the design is, you're that worried about the design, you're going to include some poles to keep it up. That's a little worrisome, but I definitely will have them on here for sure. And they have a rubber tab on the top so they don't rub off any of the paint. Another thing with this piece, he weighs probably over 100 pounds. And I always think that's a negative. You always are worried about the shelf you put him on, even if the shelf is rated for that capacity. Because if he falls, not only does he get destroyed, but he may destroy statues that are below him. So I think that's a big negative on the design as well. The last thing with the design is I was really wanting the Dark Side of the Moon Optimus Prime, which essentially is this with a few changes and some cool switch outs without all the Jetfire stuff. So it kind of occurred to me, you know what? You could probably remove all the Jetfire stuff, and when I move him, I'm gonna have to take all that off. So here's a picture from the future, guys, of what he looks like without the Jetfire stuff, and I assume it looks pretty good. So it's definitely a display option if you wanted to go back and forth. Because right now there are no Optimus Primes available from the first 3 movies unless you pay a lot secondhand. So design-wise, some good things, some bad things. It's too many pieces to put together. It's really heavy. These poles, the fact that mine had damage to it, I believe it's damaged. Those are all pretty big negatives. However, the engineering of this is pretty cool. So with the base being so heavy, all these other parts, they look like high quality, and I'm sure they are, but they're very light. So that was smart. But I think overall the design, the pros, the cons, it adds up to a V. It's very nice. It's right in the middle. I recently did a review on a custom Iceman. Check this out right here. And it was probably the most ambitious project we've ever seen. And that led to design issues with it. So I think my point is, anytime you're really elaborate and you really go all out, there's going to be design issues. It's never going to be a great design. Let's jump into paint and sculpt. And usually when we talk about paint and sculpt, especially sculpt, we talk about anatomy and clothing. Obviously that will not apply here. So what I'm going to do, we'll start at the base and move up. I'm just going to kind of give you my thoughts, the things I really like, things I think they could have done better, and at the end we'll rate the paint and sculpt together. So starting at the base here, as you guys know, I'm not a fan of these bases. I wish they would have done something different. They're boring to me. I know they're supposed to be museum. The paint on this is okay. It's bad if you consider the paint issues I've had, but it's a mix of the silvers and blacks. There's some grading on the top here. I do like the fact they added some red to this, kind of like they did with the yellow of the Bumblebee I have. Some grates on the side. Here's the Autobot symbol. It's okay. Not a fan of the base. But I don't dislike it either. Take a look at Optimus's feet. So first of all, there's like 7 different parts in each foot that I had to assemble. But part of this is Jetfire as well. So he's assimilated Jetfire onto him. And there's all these circuitry and gadgets. Very similar to some of the other Transformers feet. But it's pretty cool. And then as you move up, you start to see pieces of the semi-truck. Not only obvious things like wheel wells and wheels, but some circuitry and motor parts. And here's where the color gets really good, because not only do you have, you know, the robotic black and silver, but they added the racing paint to his semi. They added some Jetfire red stripes in some of the wings that he assimilated. Pretty neat. A lot of cool circuitry in here. And as you move up Optimus, it actually just gets cooler and cooler. Here's kind of his thighs. You see, you know, the springs and shocks and just other parts. I'm kind of without words. You just like to stare at this. And I'm not staring at his crotch area, but let's talk about his crotch area. He's got a cup on, and then here's where they've added a lot more gold. You saw a little bit on the legs, but I think it gives Optimus Prime kind of this supreme power type aspect. You see some more exhaust vents, and there's a lot of cool stuff going on in his torso. Really pops the different colors, the blues, the reds, the golds, silvers, blacks, the way they mix together. You see his windshield and doors. Very movie accurate. I like the Autobot symbol right on his chest. Take a look at his arms. Very colorful, very cool. You see some more circuitry and some wires in there. On his left arm, here's kind of the gun that's attached to it. Looks great. I'd much prefer just having the arm like this without the staff, as I said. Here's a look at his fingers and his hands. Very robotic, very accurate to the movie. Take a look at his giant gun on the right, which I think is 6 or 7 different pieces. Very cool. Not only the colors that they added into this to make it pop, but the mechanisms of it, the mechanics. Let's take a look at his back. So there's about 7 or 8 different parts of the wing on here. And what's interesting about it is, I thought initially when I saw renders or the initial prototypes on Wonderfest from Cisco and stuff like that, that I thought it would be too much. It's not. It's laid out really well. I like the design of it. It doesn't look like too much is going on. I think one of the things that they nailed with that is having the wing parts different colors, facing different directions. That was really smart. And I see some paint issues on this wing back here as well. And moving up, again, some more inner workings, some mechanisms. Right here is his ammo clip. I like this. It adds to the statue. It goes all the way from his back to the gun. Here's his boosters. These look awesome. Not only a lot of circuitry and inner workings on these as well, but it's kind of a different color paint to it. Makes you really think of a rocket. And the coverings, the plates above it that have these, I don't even know what to call them, but all the different machinery and everything in here. Very, very cool. Let's look at his portrait. First, his regular one. Excellent job. They do an excellent job with these portraits. You know, in the movies, I think they did a great job with creating a robotic portrait that transforms and moves, and you clearly see that here, not only with the colors, but the expression on his face, very stoic. And his blue helmet, just like the rest of his body, has that awesome shine. And then you see his battle portrait, and essentially it's just that mask on top. Everything else is the same. And one thing we missed are the guns and wings he has on the front here. So here's a picture of that. And one thing I'm going to do at the end of this review, I'm just going to do a ton of close-up pictures for you guys. I'll probably put like 50 pictures on there on a 5-second loop, just so you guys can get some more close-ups and really take this guy in, because as we moved up him, it doesn't do it justice. Speaking of that, I think the paint I'm really torn on. If I didn't have any quality issues, I would say the paint is a 4 out of 5. It's a rail. But there's a lot of quality issues, and I don't know if that is from shipping and it rubbed off, or if it was just bad paint jobs at the factory. Either way, I can't go above a 3 because of all the paint issues that I'm seeing. So it's a very, very nice paint. And again, I want to emphasize that if it was done correctly or it didn't, have any damage in shipping, it would have been a higher paint. Sculpt on this, though, I think is out of this world. I think the presence of him is fantastic, especially the front and then the back, where you're not even going to see that, but they went the extra mile. I think it's an X on the sculpt of this. And a lot of it, not necessarily a sculpt, but it's design. And the newest category we've added lately is value. This is a tough one. So $3,000 for a statue. This is obviously one of the coolest statues out there, at least in my opinion. But is it worth $3,000? Wow. The thing with Transformers statues is most of them, especially the Prime 1 Studios Michael Bay ones, sell for more than retail. A lot of times it's 20 to 100% higher. So I think Prime 1 Studios recognize that, and that's one of the reasons they keep increasing the price of these. Value though, I think it's right in the middle. It's a 3 out of 5 for value. Overall, I am loving this statue though. This has such presence. I am so happy I got it. I don't regret the $3,000 at all. I think overall, this is an extreme statue. This is an X. It just commands so much presence, and that's almost, that has to do with concept, but it's amazing. Let me know in the comments if this is the best Transformers statue out there. I definitely think it is. Zero regrets whatsoever getting him. I can't wait to see what he looks like in the display, so make sure to check out my Facebook page for that, or check out the Megatron Beast Wars. I have, I think, 4 other Transformers shipping right now, including the Age of Extinction Optimus right here, Galvatron right here, and the other 2 you will find out. But thanks for watching, guys. Again, stay tuned because I'm going to show a whole bunch of close-ups for you, and really appreciate you watching. Let me know if you think it's the best Transformers statue, and please make sure you subscribe. Thanks so much.